channel, welcome to Seeing Through Glass. It'd been a while since I've been to that muse. Long-term viewers of the channel will know that I used to go there a lot. I used to shoot a lot of cars there, I used to film all my intros. If I was revealing a new car to the channel, that's where I'd go. But I don't think I've been there since 2019 when Jaguar lent me the Project 8 for a week or so. I think that's the last time I filmed there. It's still fantastic, one of my favourite locations in London. People used to think I lived there. I don't live there. The residents that do live there, I think maybe have got a little bit tired of the fact that it's often used for photography or filming of cars. So today, one very kindly, very politely came out and said, "I'm really sorry, but do you mind not filming your car here?" So I said, of course, I'm leaving. The reason I went there to film today is to film a bit of a garage update. So I thought it was, I'm not revealing a new car to the channel, but I am updating you on a car that's left and sort of talking through my plans for the rest of the year. So yeah, it felt appropriate to go to that old school muse. I wanted to kickstart the video with this, the X3, because I feel like some of you may have forgotten that I actually have this car. I don't really talk about it that much. It doesn't really feature in content that often. But it's a workhorse. I use this thing day in, day out. I think I've been trying to work it out. I think I got it with 6,000 miles and I'm up to 18,500. So that's 12,000 odd miles in probably 14 months now. So it's not a huge amount of mileage, but I'm lucky, or I'm spoiled in the fact I get to drive lots of different things. And really the main use I have for this is in and around London and for the boring journeys. If I've got a long slog up to Alexander's Prestige, or if I'm going to go visit Tony at Gravel Car Sales, or whatever it might be, this is the car I'll use. But most of the time it's being used by Twiggy, my dog. She doesn't drive, but she pretty much lives in this car, and Vicky, my wife. And yes, my wife, a lot of you have noticed it, I have been wearing a wedding ring now for a couple of months, and I did announce it on Instagram, but never talked about it here on YouTube. Vicky and I got married a few months ago now, actually, back in June, so that was amazing. And she loves this car. We all love this car. Me, Vicky and Twiggy adore this thing, but I struggle to get excited by it. It's really good for what I need it to do. It's actually, I think, near on perfect. And every time I do spend time in it, I'm like, oh, this car is so good. But I never walk up to it or get out of it and go, oh, what a looker. I very rarely take pictures of it. And spec-wise, because I bought the car used, black on black on black, it's not really my thing. It's very comfortable. It sounds so good. The more modern cars I drive, the more I realise that even just a few years ago, they were still sounding so fruity. So from that point of view, big thumbs up. And you know what? I now see more and more X3 competitions cruising around, which stylistically look a little bit more intriguing, I think. But everyone always talks about how stiff they are. And this thing is never feels stiff. We've even got the bigger 21-inch wheels on this car, which were an optional extra. And speed bumps, bumpy roads, whatever you're doing, it wafts, it cruises. It's got enough of a sort of slight sporty element to sort of let you know that you could go fast if you want to. If you go into Sport or Sport Plus in this car, it really does get a move on and it is dynamically capable, but I so rarely use it in that mode. I'm often in Comfort or Eco Pro, extracting as much fuel as I can, because fuel economy is all right. It's not fantastic. If I siphon through here, I've been averaging 25.3. That's been a couple of motorway journeys recently and then in and around town. It's not bad, but it's not fantastic. So yeah, I'm often in Eco Pro. But it's just wonderful. The Harman Kardon sound system here is brilliant. You've got all this sort of tech because it's got the various technology. I think this technology plus pack, or maybe just the technology package. I can do all the gesture control, so I can do my volume by spinning my finger like that. Apple CarPlay. I mean, everything you want. Heated seats, air conditioning. It feels really spacious, but not too big. It's very easy to park. I have nothing but good things to say. It's just great. So there we go. I know some of you want more information. Comment below. I'll try and get back to you get back to as many of you as possible, because as I say, I know lots of you out there are considering X3 M40Is or want to know what it's like. Just great. There's literally nothing I can knock with this car. I have zero complaints, apart from the fact that this one doesn't have a pan roof. Definitely get one with a pan roof. I really regret not holding out and waiting for one that had that. I can complain about spec options for this car, but as a car, X3 M40i, fantastic. So let's head to STG HQ, because I need to update you on the fact that, of course, the 911 has now gone. If you didn't know about that, spoiler alert. And then also what's going on with the F-Type, the 360, and the Abarth Project Proposto. To STG HQ. I gotta be honest, it's pretty filthy in here, so I think before I do anything else, I need to tidy this place up. Time lapse. I was also hoping to mop the floor today, but it does take me about 3 or 4 hours to mop the floor and then let it dry, and I've run out of time. So I'm really sorry to the cleanliness freaks out there. You're just gonna have to accept that the floor's gonna be a bit dirty in today's video. STGHQ's gone a little bit unloved in recent weeks. I did that big road trip with the 992 GT3, but before that I was a bit frantic, Goodwood Festival of Speed, etc. So I just haven't spent enough time here to kind of properly clean and tidy it. So yeah, apologies for that. But anyway, let's get back to the cars because this is supposed to be a garage update. No 360 here today. I mean, usually it's kept at Windrush Car Storage anyway, not at STGHQ, but it's actually over at DK Engineering. You may have seen about a month or so ago, I talked about the fact that I kind of want to do a sympathetic restoration to my 360. Mechanically, it's exactly kind of where I want it to be. It's super reliable, it's fantastic to drive, and whilst there are a few components I know I need to sort of replace or upgrade, it was just, you know, in a sweet spot. But sort of aesthetically and cosmetically, it just looked a little bit tired in certain areas. So I took the car down to DK Engineering for kind of an appraisal, and they were so brilliant and helpful and spotting things and talking about how to fix things. I was like, well, I should really get you guys to do most of the work. So that's what's been happening. So you're going to get a full update on the 360 next week, I think. But fundamentally, for the rest of this year, that's what's going to be happening. It's going to be going through this restoration process, ready for 2022, when I think I've got 3 major trips/events with that car, because it's going to be its 20th anniversary. The car's a 2002 car, next year being 2022. 20 years old. So of course it's going back to Maranello for a big celebration there, but you know, I got other things planned. So I really want to make sure that it's in the prime of its life.
In the prime of life.
In the best condition it's ever been, ready for that quite monumental celebration. So that's the plan for the 360 this year. Plenty more content to come with it. Let's turn our attention now to the kind of elephant in this room, which is the rather sorry looking Abarth Project Riposto in the corner. Quite a few of you have actually been asking where this car has been, especially those of you that have attended the Behind the Glass live events. Well, unfortunately, it's dead. I mean, it's not dead, but it's pretty dead. I took it down to Goodwood for a track day, an amazing track day actually, that I was supposed to be attending in my 360, but they didn't let the 360 on track because it's too loud. So I flew back here to STGHQ, jumped in this thing, went down to Goodwood and had an absolute blast. My friends were jumping in and out of it, everyone was enjoying it, the car was amazing. Brought it back here, parked it up, moved some things around, got back in to restart it, and nothing. Just, I mean, dead, absolutely dead. So we opened up the bonnet and the heat pouring out of this engine bay was quite terrifying. So I think something's kind of been melted. Now look, I mean, it might not even come to life at all today, but I'll see. Let's put this in. Now this is what happens, right? So look, we get some action, and you're going, oh, this all looks pretty encouraging. And then if I actually jump in, so no problem. And then if I actually turn the ignition, yeah, what's that? Anyone know what that is? Because that doesn't sound good. Is it a battery thing or an ignition thing? Anyway, something is not happy. I think it's going to be a fairly simple fix, an electrical glitch, something like that. I just embarrassingly haven't had time to get it done because I want to film it and I want to document what's going on. I just need to carve out the time to get this car fixed. So it has been looking or feeling or just being pretty sorry for itself in this corner of STGHQ, not doing very much. However, the paint is still looking amazing and the car's so much fun. So I need to get it fixed because I really want to take this thing on a bit of an adventure, either to North Coast 500 or Ireland. I really had a thought of taking this car over to Ireland. I think it would be perfect to explore Ireland and Northern Ireland in. So yeah, fingers crossed this will get sorted beginning of September and I can do a trip in that when the weather starts to get a little bit worse and the sort of fruity stuff, you know, is less easy to use. Definitely jump on this thing. So yeah, any auto electricians out there who might know what's going on, any Abarth specialists, get in touch because yeah, dead. Now, before the trolls go in the comment section, and by trolls I mean Tony from Gravelwood, that's not an oil leak, that's not some kind of mechanical failure, that was a water leak from the ceiling. I think it was rain. It's an old crumbling building. Anyway, just had to mention that. So we now finally come on to the F-Type, the beloved F-Type. Unfortunately, still not my beloved F-Type. I think most of you know this is a Jaguar UK press car that they've kind of lent me. indefinitely. I mean, I feel like we shouldn't remind them of that fact just in case it was a clerical error and they try and take it back, because I don't want them to take it back because it's so good having an F-Type back in my life. Obviously took this thing up to Scotland pretty much the week I got the keys to it. And since then I've pretty much been using it as my other daily. When I'm not in the X3, I'm in this, and since I've had this, I'm more often than not in this. It's been really interesting for me living with a convertible. I sort of mentioned as I collected this thing, I've not always been a fan of a soft top convertible, but it's kind of great. I mean, the weather's been pretty disastrous so far this year, but on the odd occasion where I can get the roof down, well actually that's a lie, I get the roof down pretty much all the time, whether it's overcast, a little bit drizzly, or sunny, the roof is down. The only time I don't bring it down is when it's a proper downpour, more out of respect for Jaguar than my own head, because I think the car's just better with the roof down. But yeah, it allows in so much more of the kind of experience or the character of this car. These new F-Types, of course, are a little bit more muted than previous generations, but they still do sound good. And when you've got that roof down, they're loud. Trust me, they are super loud. And you know what? When I collected this car, apart from the soft top and the sort of change in sound, the other thing I mentioned I kind of had to get used to was the redesign of the front end of this new version F-Type. I have to say, I haven't just got used to it, I'm really starting to like it. Is that a bit? I think that's going to still be a controversial thing to say. I actually took this car up to the Supercar Driver secret meet recently. If you don't know about Supercar Driver, I would say one of the world's biggest supercar members clubs. They put on this incredible event at Donington Race Circuit with more supercars than you could ever imagine, and loads of hypercars and classic Le Mans race cars and Formula One cars. It was unbelievable. In my mind, it rivaled Goodwood Festival of Speed in terms of just jaw-dropping kind of car content. But loads of people were coming up and actually looking at this car. I wouldn't consider the F-Type a supercar, but no one bat an eyelid, and it came in and there was other F-Types knocking around, but no other new shape F-Types. So people coming up and going, oh, I wonder. And most people were like, nah, I'm still not convinced by that front end. But now, having lived with this car for like 3.5 months, I think it looks really good. You kind of can't compare it to, what's the saying? Apples and lemons. The old car is still stunning in its own right and its own thing. This is a kind of separate entity, even though it's still an F-Type. I think it's really good looking. I've now seen it from every angle and every kind of scenario and situation and weather conditions. And I'm like, oh, that's a good looking car. And I actually find myself more often than not speccing new F-Types on their online configurator than browsing old ones on Auto Trader. Only sort of problem with that for me is that by the time you spec a new R, you can get up to like 115 grand, which is then Project 7 money, which is too much. You've got the old shape SVRs at 65 or 70, they kind of seem like a bit of a bargain. But now I've spent so much time in the new one, can I go back to the old one? I don't know if I can. Lots of it's familiar, but then it's just improved. And long story short, Jag, please never take this car back. I am honestly loving it. So much fun. So what's coming up next? Well, actually, you know what? Let's head upstairs to talk about that. I was about to say what's next for the F-Type is my plans to take it abroad, but I feel like international travel is quite a big conversation topic that needs a bit more discussion, because let's face it, hasn't really been a thing on this channel for 12, maybe 18 months. I did do that very short road trip in the Lotus Evora last July, but it was short and it was stressful, and anyway, I haven't done anything since. So that's been weird for me, because let's face it, pre-COVID, this channel was all about the travel. Heck, I came back from a 12-month round-the-world trip straight into lockdown, so that's felt quite extreme, and I'm sure as viewers, you've kind of noticed that, or maybe craved, like myself, this sort of OG travel exploration content, and that is what I want to get back to doing, because it feels like, as of now, and we all know things can change very quickly, international travel's feeling possible again. Some of my colleagues and contemporaries have already been out there exploring and traveling, and good on them, but I've sort of been waiting and trying to be as patient as possible and respectful to myself and others. And anyway, it feels like now is the right time, or at least the second half of this year is the right time, fingers crossed. And Jaguar have been amazing, said, yeah, sure, take the car wherever you want. So I'm like, cool, into Europe? They're like, yeah, sure, whatever. So they continue to be amazing, and that's what I want to do, because let's face it, all those years ago, 4 years ago, I spent so many miles in my F-Type abroad. And so the ultimate way to kind of assess this new version is to go to the places I went with my old car and see if it can kind of, bring back some memories or judge how it compares, etc. So I definitely want to do that. I already mentioned with the Abarth trying to get up to Scotland or Ireland, but I also want to continue borrowing cool cars and going in cool places, like exploring Wales in a GT3, exploring Cornwall in a Defender, but I want to get out to other places, other countries and places I haven't been before, or revisit places that I love. So yeah, as I say, hopefully the second half of 2021 for me will be a lot more road trip content, because I've been waiting. I'm trying to be patient. Done a lot of test drives in Surrey. I kind of hate Surrey now, but I'm ready to get out there, jump on the Channel, jump on a ferry, jump on a plane, and bring back some old school travel content. So fingers crossed, that is what's to come. Oh, I totally forgot to talk about the fact that obviously I sold the 911. I kind of mentioned it earlier, but yeah, the 40th anniversary, my 996, it's gone. Sold it via collecting cars, which was a fantastic process, but I feel a bit sad about that car. It just didn't work out as I planned at all. And well, truth be told, Vic and I are trying to move house at the moment, and the mortgage broker said the less cars under your name, the better. And I went downstairs and I was just sitting there staring at the cars, and I was like, I never get in that 911. I just never use it, and there must be a reason for that. So maybe I should just take that as a sign and see if there's someone else out there who would enjoy it more. And that's what happened. I sold and collecting cars, super easy, great process. The guy came and picked it up. He's been texting me. He loves it. Fantastic. And I mean, you know me and Porsche. There will probably be another Porsche. Well, I'll probably try and own another Porsche at some point, probably in the not too far future. It's just the way it goes on this channel. I will regret selling it, but I wasn't using it. I mean, I still have 360, F-Type, X3, Abarth. That's 4 cars. It's 3 too many. So having 5 was it was ridiculous. I don't know who I thought I was. Yeah, a shame, but anyway, it's gone. So just in case you missed that fact, I did talk about it a lot on some of my other social media platforms. I don't think it was a big surprise to many of you, but just to clarify. So yeah, anyway, there you go. That's kind of your update. I felt like it was important to let you know what was going on and at least tease what's kind of coming up in the second half of this year. So hope you're excited. I know I definitely am. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and stay subscribed for plenty more videos to come.